This is 1,136 days since Richard vanished from the barracks there at Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas. And he didn't just vanish, something happened, and they all know it. They all know it in the state of Texas. They all know it as taxpayers. Um, they might not know it, let's see, by name, but they feel it in the pocket. They feel it in the pocket. Um, and so I'm going to talk about that today. And of course, Lalani Hart. She is the main topic right now. She is the one that um, is really up to no good in all of this. And it is the cause of obstruction of justice. And of course, backed up by many. This is a collusion, right? This is a collusion. Of course it is. And we're going to be talking about that today. And we'll address all the monies in the next weeks because, or then hopefully this next week, because the dates are due and we did receive institutional support. That's what I call it. Because of that wonderful formula, institution of support plus evidence equals accountability. And the institutional support in this case, in Miss Amy Snoddy's case, in Governor Greg Abbott's case, um, they can really lend us both. They can lend us the institutional support, and they can lend us the evidence where the monies were spent, how much was allocated for Richard's case. And so that is what we are, waiting for all the paperwork, all the confirmation for that, not just the narrative. But I wanted to talk to you about the narrative. Let's see. Okay. Let's go to Facebook and make sure. Okay, that I am on. There I am. Thank you, everyone. Let's go to Facebook and make sure. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is we have a growing suspect list because of our alliance within Fort Bliss. Names are coming out, and I've already mentioned Lisa Lennon Williams. I already mentioned Nell Mitchell. I already, let's see, there's so many names. Edwin Sessionay. I already mentioned him. So names are coming out. This is a growing suspect list. A lot of people were involved in this. I want to make it very, very clear that Richard, when he got there, um, he was an aspiring soldier. He was so excited, a distinguished honor graduate for basic training and AIT. He was so excited. And he got to Fort Bliss, and what did he want? He wanted to defend the Constitution. He wanted people to take that seriously. He wanted it to be serious that our leadership would do their duty, which means give them proper training, which means give them esprit de corps, which means give them order, which means give them discipline, right? Take care of the equipment, right? He did not join the army to witness narcotics trafficking and the barracks being the marketplace for illegal drugs. on Fort Bliss. He did not join the Army to, there's some information going on that I'm trying to uh, corroborate. Um, but he didn't join the Army to see young soldiers being sexually assaulted or to be sexually assaulted. Okay, that's not why he joined the military, to be groomed sexually, to join a sex cult. That's not what he joined the Army for. Um, Also, he did not join the Army to see equipment and weapons and ammunition being smuggled, right? Smuggled using taxpayer equipment and funds of taxpayers' equipment and weapons and funds, right? Also, he did not join the military to see forgery and fraud going on. Okay, forgery and fraud going on at uh, incredible levels in order to get benefits, right? In order to get benefits, lifelong benefits. Um, these, he did not join the Army to see children being trafficked and also for child pornography to be made and be sold, broadcasted to the world outside, right? That's not why he joined. And so he became a whistleblower because he knew that child pornography does not have anything to do with defending the Constitution. That weapons smuggling and equipment smuggling with uh, ammunition smuggling is a threat to our national security. He also became a whistleblower because narcotics trafficking is also a threat to our national security. And he signed up and took an oath to defend the Constitution. Okay. That's why he joined. And that means that if you see something that is a huge risk to our national security, that you have to report it. And that's why he became a whistleblower. And don't forget that he was a student at Park University. And, uh, you know, we're being told that he was an intern for the CID. Now, this puts so many pieces of the puzzle together. How did he meet Leilani Hart? Well, she was, for a long time, she wasn't, but then she was a student at Park University. She also was having an affair with Special Agent Tavita Nusa. Okay. She had connections with Thomas Kane, the Director of Emergency Services, the Chief of Security of Fort Bliss, who was also a professor at Park University. Um, and there's um, many connections that are coming in with Edwin uh, Cichonnet, of course, with Dallas Hart. Dallas Hart having that perfect rank to be platoon leader. Perfect rank to be platoon leader. Um, and so the puzzle pieces, the little crumbs, morsel by morsel, Operation Hansel and Gretel, um, it's all coming together and we're seeing the bigger picture. And now we're going to even see the bigger picture. And that is that Leilani Hart, in her notarized criminal complaint affidavit, made a statement about her immigration status. And that really piqued our interest. Of course, the other contents of it is vile and vulgar and are felony crimes. Okay, they're absolutely felony crimes against her family. Okay, especially her husband, James Hart, who she was out to get him arrested, right? She was out to get him arrested. She was out to hurt him. And, so why? Why? What is going on in this whole thing? We'll put pieces together. Um, but her immigration status is very interesting because she feels that that it is questionable, that that is something that her husband could threaten her with and get away with. He could threaten her with her immigration status. Now, the affidavit accuses him, not me, but Leilani Hart accuses him of putting a gun to her head, um, of him threatening her life while she's sleeping. He could just kill her, and when and she would never wake up, and it would be as simple as that. That's in the affidavit, which is vile and vulgar. Um, and also that he was purchasing, Leilani accused uh, James Hart, a VA employee in a very, very important position, a VA employee that's in charge of the medical board for disabilities for veterans to receive their disability checks, um, and disability, right? Status. Wow. Um, but she is accusing him of purchasing weapons illegally, being in possession of them illegally, threatening her life with them. And then, of course, um, what do I have here? I had like three things. Yeah. Failure to report sexual assault of a minor. That was for Lonnie Hart. Child possession. Oh, possession of child pornography and sexual uh, sexual gains with minors. Um, yeah, just some notes, and I hope I'm right, reading them right. But uh, the fact is, there's felony crimes there. Now, um, the immigration status, you know, she might be putting forth false allegations, but the immigration status claim is very, very interesting. And so, we don't know why she's not arrested for false allegations, if they're false allegations, because she has a history. She is a convicted criminal because of false allegations to law enforcement authorities. Okay? And the judge, if you want to read, those cases, I'll give you a few of the cases. This is in the state of Hawaii, 1SS071000027, 1SS051001519, and 1SS051001342. They're all public information. The case that James Hart and children accused her of in for domestic abuse is 1DA9800000015. That's 5 zeros. And then another one about that she was convicted, and the judge even um, said, look, you need to get assessed for your mental health. Okay, you need some help there, and so that is very important in this too. And this one P1080015275, she was active duty. She was active duty. Um, that is, I'll repeat it, 1P1080015275. And there's more. And there's more. So yeah. Those are really, really important because that is evidence in the case of our son, along with the notarized criminal complaint confession affidavit on July 22nd, 2020. That is also evidence. Um, and of course, we have so much circumstantial evidence. And so, do we need a body to claim that there was um, foul play and that our son was hurt? Um, we don't need a body. And what I'm about to share with you tonight, I mean, let's talk about those cases because those cases say this is a person that wherever she goes wants to harass people, wants to be up to no good, wants to do no good, wants to bring chaos. With chaos comes violence. Okay? When you have chaos, there's always violence. And she's also saying with this immigration status that if this is true, that she has possibly committed fraud and forgery. Now, forgery and fraud are, really on my radar because from the very beginning that we went to El Paso, fraud was being perpetrated against us with, uh, you know, trying to trying to be Richard. I remember when Sammy took over a Facebook called Richard Halliday. Everybody was upset. We didn't know how to react to it at all. Um, and since then, we've had a lot of fraud, a lot of suspected forgery. And we think the forgery, for one, is with the JAG. The fraud is with the JAG. We believe that it's with the VA. Absolutely, the fraud and forgery within the VA and possibly other places. But from the intel that we're getting, it looks like that's where it's coming from. And that's interesting because James Hart has his job there, right? And he has been accused by his wife for having an affair with Lisa Lennon Williams, his co-worker. A very important position, very important position. And, you know, uh, the claims were made that by Leilani that they were committing fraud and forgery. And I don't understand using soldiers' social security numbers. And I don't understand why Leilani Hart has not been arrested. Why hasn't there been cases against her? In Hawaii, they were. Now, we went to El Paso and we have cases being told to us that are against Leilani, saying that she runs the CID. But what is going on? Why is she not arrested? And why is Miss Kachurga not covering this story alone on Leilani Hart? Okay? Because Leilani Hart is a convicted criminal. And to get leaked documents, which we know from our government now is like a normal thing. They're just leaking. We know that they do it from the FBI. We know they do it from the CID. We know that they do it from the command. They're leaking files everywhere. Do they do it from the VA? Is that how the VA, is that how they, all these people that were involved got information about our son and about our family? Through these leaks, through the sharing, illegally sharing confidential information. Um, Praise God that both Richard and Rob have spectacular, wonderful, stellar records. Stellar. Absolutely. And so, because they would have smeared us, they've tried to smear us in every which way. And, they were trying to find something. So, but the fact is, they had the files to look through, to rummage through. And, that is illegal. And we know that, um, this Eric Hatch, this CW2 Eric Hatch, hack, that's the new one that just was arrested, um, was leaking information, was leaking intel. Because anytime they leak a file, they're leaking intel. Okay? So they're leaking intel, which is a national security threat. It's a threat. It weakens our army readiness, our military readiness. Okay? It damages our esprit de corps. It damages our morale. And that's why, having debt is so dangerous. Even when you file bankruptcy, and there's so many people that have filed bankruptcy because the debt gets to so bad. It gets so bad that you just can't even breathe, and you become a very nasty person. Debt makes people very nasty because it puts them on the edge all the time. And it makes them do things like narcotics trafficking, like child sex trafficking, like weapons smuggling, equipment smuggling, ammunition smuggling. It makes them criminals. It makes them nasty. It's a terrible thing. And in our world, they have encouraged our leadership that are up to no good. They have encouraged debt in every which way. And it is just a very, very dangerous game. Very dangerous. Um, and I just can't say it enough how it makes you a really rotten person. And so I don't know what is making Leilani Hart such a rotten person, such a mean person, to do what I have heard from the victims, to do, to destroy people with false allegations. And this is on our officer of the court. Absolutely, Miss Kucherga participated in that. That Leilani Hart, she pulled the wool over her eyes. I contacted Miss Kucherga right away, and I said, Leilani Hart is not credible. And that's before I knew about all of these, that she was a convicted criminal. Okay? Before she was a convicted criminal, in my eyes, but she's been a convicted criminal since the late 1990s. This lady is just has a long, long criminal record. Lots of stuff. I just read all 4 of the numbers. And there's more. And there's more. Let's see if I have that other one. It's in my notes. Oh, IPI. No, sorry. 1P1 970018 067. That's another one. That is that's the one that she pled guilty to for lying, and the judge of the court in Hawaii was like, "You're on probation. You have to go to." She broke her probation, and she broke. Yeah, I'm thinking she did, and she broke her where she had to stay away restraining order. She broke that too. Um, yeah, uh, the stories. It's the pain that she has caused. It is absolutely huge. And so I'm just thinking, what in the world did Richard witness that absolutely had to involve Dallas Hart? Okay? To get Leilani Hart involved, Dallas Hart had to be involved also. Okay? Because we have information. And that Pontiac van, the 2004 Pontiac Montana van that had GPS data in it from the OnStar, right? Had OnStar in it. Um, so I know, I know. There's so much evidence, and people, say all the time, why isn't she arrested? Why isn't Dallas Hart arrested? Why isn't Jay Paulin arrested? Why is it and others arrested? And this is just really big, y'all. And I'm going to tell you today what our alliance, the intel, what the intel um, has given us, and now we're waiting for Miss Dottie's um, verification, absolutely verification on this. That's we need it. We need it. I did want to mention that the white van 2004 starts with a C. We have another one, a CH. The license plate begins with a CH, um, with a ch, with a ch, and the seat on the Humvee in the window had First Lieutenant Ha, where Edwin was sitting on, and that's a lot of very interesting information that I'll go over with you on. Um, just hold on to your seats. It's so interesting. Um, and what was the response from the DA and the AG and the Attorney USA's and Judge Robert Shook, Colonel Shook, and the command and the CID and the FBI and the ATF and the CBP, the Customs Border Patrol, uh, Customs Border Protectors. They play a much bigger role than what we thought. Okay, I'm just going to tell you that because of Meisner. Meisner opened that up, and others that are very, very connected. His name is Christopher Michael Meisner, and it absolutely opens up the Customs and Border Protectors um, to be much more involved in our son's case than what we originally thought, which is so concerning because then you know that it has to do with trafficking and um, um, all kinds of smuggling, yeah. And these are things that they would absolutely uh, not back down from. And because there's so much money involved. And if they have bills, if they have debt, they are going to be mean. They're going to be mean. And they were very, very mean to Richard. And we couldn't figure out why they were so mean. And now we're starting to understand that they were protecting. They were protecting their money flow because they have debt. They're not free people. And Leilani Hart is at the forefront in the charge of the harassment, of the charge of, um, being the cheerleader for false allegations and obstruction of justice and the denial of due process. And so, but that's all coming out now because we're getting institutional support. And I cannot stress it enough that um, she is, she needs to be arrested. And we're hoping that Major General Eisenhower will see that those false allegations, that is obstructing justice and also retaliating against a whistleblower, because the officer of the court is a whistleblower. He's a whistleblower because he had interactions with Leilani Hart. He had interactions with Tavita Nusa. He heard them. He, uh, in the CID file that he submitted to the CID, to the FBI, to the command. This is Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe, in January of 2022. Okay, we're in 2023 right now. In 2022, Sean Bernabe did not respond. And the officer of the court contacted him with the information that bodily harm was confessed by Tavita Nusa, bodily harm of Richard Halliday. Now, we didn't get that call from Sean Bernabe. We didn't get that uh, call from Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe. No, what they did is they proceeded to sanitize, to scrub all mention. I would say scrub is a better word. Scrub all mention of this key witness from Richard's file. And when we got the archives, and the archives are big in the news right now, the archives aren't releasing the information. Those are public, that's public information. We have rights to them. And when we got Richard's file, they had sanitized his file from the Article 15 of the chaptering. And, that is just unacceptable for him to have to go through that and them to sanitize and, wash their hands of it, and then promote him 3 times when he is really, we believe that he's designated deceased. And the reason why we believe that he's designated deceased is because we had a casualty affairs officer. And people say, oh, well, when you're missing, they have that. No. And there's more. There's more, and we're going to release it because of the subpoenas, because of the supporting documents that go with the subpoena or with the warrants. Because of the warrants, that's what I wanted to say, and that's all of that goes with that, the affidavits that go with that, the probable cause affidavits. When you have 15 warrants and probable cause affidavits, then there's foul play, there's something going on. And then of course we have the autopsy reports, but and we have the numbers, and the cover up is so big. So let me give you these approximate funding receipts to the American people. that we want answered. We want our intel answered. Okay? And we're in that process, which is huge. And of course, we're very transparent, and we know that those that are up to no good listen to us every day. So we're telling them, you know, the Texas has the death penalty. Texas has the death penalty. And that's why we are so transparent, because we know that they're up to no good, and that um, this was premeditated, uh, a and we have to say it this way live, premeditated presumed murder. But it was way more than that, because it started way before he even went missing. It was the retaliation against a whistleblower, the continuous severe retaliation against a whistleblower. Okay? That costs money. That costs money. And that costs Army readiness. That costs Army readiness, because when you do an unjust, continuous, severe retaliation against a whistleblower, the esprit de corps, the morale is so bad. And that's why Shaky Jake, Command Sergeant Major Jakovitz, who got this sweet little VA job, I don't know if James Hart got him that job and say, hey, I'll get you a little sweet VA job. I don't know. I have to mention it because it's disgusting to me that Command Sergeant Major Jake Jakovitz, who knew that morale was so bad, okay, and it wasn't because of just COVID, because COVID, they were having their parties every day. Okay, they were having parties every day. Um, that wasn't, they could have all the drugs they wanted. They could rape. They could do sexual harassment. They had co-ed barracks. Whose bright idea is that? It just puts, it's so disgusting. Um, because the objective is not to defend the Constitution when you're doing this kind of stuff with your soldiers. Okay? That's very, very clear. They could have, whatever weapons, violence, whatever, because the barracks was flush with weapons. Does that mean that they were smuggling the weapons? We don't know. It's a mess. It was a mess then. It's a mess now. It's a mess now. When you have a soldier who is a second lieutenant that walks up to his battalion building and blows his head off, and it all gets covered up, swept up, because we are doing this live stream every day. Team Find Richard Halliday on this every day. People contact us. Where is the news covering the horrendous suicides, the questionable deaths as suicides, but for a second lieutenant to do something like that? I don't want to get more graphic, but what that tells you is that the tampering of evidence, the cover up, is all there. It's become a norm. And so that means the corruption is just spreading and is really widespread. That's what that means. And in order to cover that up, they have to use my money and your money. They have to use taxpayer funds to cover this up all the time. And then we're not even getting what we want. What we want is a defense of the Constitution. We want a military that will defend the Constitution, our freedoms, the land and the people, that will defend the land and the people. We're not getting that. So we're not getting that. Um, a lot of our um, beloved volunteer sons and daughters are going in and they're so excited and they're um, coming to the realization that we have a corrupted military. And it needs to be, to me, at this point, it needs to be closed down. The Pentagon needs to be closed down because they're up to no good. They're up to no good. It's as clear as that. They've become something that they were not intended to become. And so we need to turn the spigot off and find another way to defend ourselves. Retrench. We have plenty of veterans, plenty of smart people out there that would know how to reorganize our country as far as our defense goes. It's just right now, it's a huge drain. It is trillions of dollars, and a lot of that is being spent on cover ups. A lot of it is spent on unnecessary advertisement, be all you can be. And that doesn't work because our reputation is so bad because so many families have been injured. So many families have been injured. I mean, I can't tell you how many that I've heard of where they have their son join, and when they get out, they have seizures all the time. They have all kinds of health problems, whatever. No, and it's not because of war. It's because of the corruption that's inside of the military. It's the lack of the esprit de corps, the lack of morality in the military. And there is a just way to war. Okay? St. Augustine laid that out very clear. Every general knows St. Augustine's just war arguments. Okay? Every general knows it. And any general worth their salt knows it. And why is that important? Because you need to absolutely have a fighting force that wants to fight for their home, for their family, because that is the most powerful force there ever was and ever will be. Somebody that absolutely is fighting for the love of their country, their home, and their family. And that's called esprit de corps. And that's called be all you can be. And that's called the army of one. That's what it's all about. And it's not about what we've seen in Richard's case, where it's just been a smear campaign and a cover up and lies and smears and obstruction of justice and a denial of due process. And, that is so detrimental when other soldiers see it and know it. It's so detrimental to our national security, to the health of our country, the morale of our country, to the love that we have for our country. You see, when we see things like this, it's detrimental it chips away at the love that we have for our country and for our countrymen and for our home. And it's so anti-patriotic that, it's kind of like Rome. The barbarians, just a handful of them, could enter the city of Rome. Rome used to be thousands and thousands of people, maybe millions of people. But by the time their fall was over, there was only like 500 people living in Rome, in the city of Rome. the barbarians just could come in. People were like zombies because their morale was so low, and whatever drugs they were on or whatever, they were just hopeless. And the barbarians could just slit their throat without a fight. Without a fight. They could rape them, slit their throat, rob them, whatever. The people didn't care anymore because of corruption, of corruption, of corruption that ate away, chipped away at the love of their country, their home. Um, and that's what's going on here. And the financial abuse that we're suffering through is makes us mean. And I can't say that enough. Because one thing that I've seen with Brown, First Lieutenant Brown, First Lieutenant Hart, Jay Paulin, First Sergeant Jay Paulin, First Sergeant, um, uh, what's his name, Ruggiero, Hema Sochel, being the wife of Ruggiero, um, and those that are connected with this. There's so many. They're just mean, heartless. You know, um, it's like, or let's say Anthony Swafford, totally mean. Talk about the soldier that was shaking. He doesn't. They don't mean to be mean. The shaky paralegal. He didn't mean to be mean. He just scared out of his wits, hopeless. This is, you know, what about the PAO for Park? I haven't even posted that for Park University. You know, when you guys read that response, you're going to be like, "What?" The PAO for Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe. Um, the response from Veronica Escobar. The response from Miss Kachurga. I mean, talk about mean. She's just so mean, heartless. She needs to go away. She needs to go have a vacation. But she's implicated in this because she has um, relaxed herself so much that she can't do a basic background check on Leilani Hart that shows that Leilani Hart is not credible, that she is a liar, that she is a convicted liar, a convicted criminal to law enforcement authorities and more, that she's a harasser, And then Miss Kachurga then, you know, maybe she didn't go look. She relaxed herself so much as an investigative journalist that she forgot to investigate. And then she obstructed justice with Leilani Hart through the JAG, who is working outside the law, that we heard from Thomas Kane, because they are banning someone without a notification, without them letting themselves to defend themselves, without a packet, without any kind of investigation. They relaxed themselves so much that the JAG didn't even do a basic background check on Leilani Hart to see that she was a convicted criminal. And then they go to Major General Eisenhower and have him sign off on that and make him look so bad. And he's thinking, oh yeah, the JAG, they do their duty. No, they didn't even do a basic background check. You know, $1 trillion institution, and the JAG can't even do a basic background check. Okay, so but that doesn't mean money's not there, and that's what I wanted to get to, the monies, the money. So our intel is telling us that for Richard's case, um, under guise, personal and investigative teams, $2.5 million, forensic analysis and testing, $1.8 million. Legal proceedings and consultations, $1.2 million. Okay, wait a minute. So that's three, four, five. That's $5.5 million so far. Support services, surveillance data, and analysis, $1 million. So that's $6,500,000. Let's add another administrative cost, $600,000 on that. Can't forget administrative costs. So that puts us at a 61, 6,100,000, 6,100,000. Then another, let's add miscellaneous expenses of 300,000 for $6,400,000. Am I right there? 2, 4, 6. Yep. Now we will let you know what we get back in hard official paperwork. But just to let you know, a cover up of this magnitude costs a lot of money. And of course it does. And I've said that when you see the monies and and I've been telling you that we've been experiencing the threats and the intimidation, and when we traced where those threats and the intimidation was coming from, it was institutional. Well, that has to be paid for, right? That has to be all paid for. These people don't follow this day in and day out and harass and intimidate for free, okay? They all get their stipends, right? They all get their pay. And, so that's why we decided, okay, let's follow the money. And that's why we've been looking into that. So I'll repeat that again. Personnel and investigative teams, $2.5 million. Forensic analysis and testing, $1.8 million. Legal proceedings and consultations, $1.2 million. That's really interesting to me. Support services, surveillance, data analysis, etc., $1 million. Administrative costs, $600,000. Miscellaneous expenses, $300,000. So that is 2.5, 1.8, 1.2. That's 55 right there. 55, 65. Oh yeah, I miscounted a whole million. 70, 73. So okay, so 7,300,000. Let's write that down again. 2.5 and 1.8 and 1.2. That's 3 and 2.5. That's 5.5, and another million is 6.5, and another 900,000 is 7.4 trillion dollars. Okay, yeah. So sorry, I get really shaky looking at these numbers because they're spending millions of dollars and they're telling us they haven't found Richard. Yeah. So I'm on that line, and they're not jumping to arrest Lonnie Hart for what she has done to obstruct justice, against and act against and get the media to act against a key witness in our case, a key witness that is an officer of the court, to smear, to act against him, to obstruct justice, to deny us due process. And, why isn't Major General Eisenhower jumping to apologize and retract the ban on our key witness? Why? When you look at these numbers, these kinds of funds that they're spending, and all they're doing is obstructing. And so, we sent, and of course, I know it's a holiday weekend, but I just think, if I was the general, I would say, "Ugh, I don't want any part of this. I want to have my soldiers' backs. I want to make sure that every soldier on Fort Bliss knows that I have their back. I am not obstructing the investigation into Richard Halliday, a whistleblower. I am not going to do that. I am going to lift the ban on this officer of the court that has been wrongly smeared, wrongly accused, and we have all the proof now. We've been sending proof after proof after proof. Okay? Hard evidence. And these case numbers, this character that is so mean, so deceptive, crimes of turpitude, right? Crimes of turpitude. Let's go over them. I have them right here. Did I put them in this one? So many notes. I need to read those crimes of turpitude. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see if I can find it. Oh. I don't give up that easy, right? Yep, here they are. Crimes of deception, categorized as involving moral turpitude, include. So these are all, this is a person that wants to be deceptive. Okay? And we witnessed this the other day at Dillard's. This man, that big guy, total thief. This is so deceptive and so damaging to everybody that participated in making those Coach purses, right? 20 Coach purses he put on his arm right in front of us, ran out like a madman. I mean, he would have ran. We had our grandkids with us. He could have hurt somebody for purses. And, those purses have designers that need to be paid, have, farmers that took care of the cows to get the leather, designers, leather, weavers, people that make dyes, all of this stuff. Even the person that, the waitress that serves those people that are making the things, their cherry pie at the diner. If you haven't watched iPencil, you need to watch iPencil. You need to watch it all the time. I watch it like every 1, 2, 3 years. I watch iPencil. And because anytime someone is that big of a thief, they are hurting so many people. Their work, their effort that they've put into making that product to put it on the shelf. And a thief is stealing from all of those people. It's just mean. Absolutely a crime of deception, of moral turpitude. And that includes fraud, theft, forgery, embezzlement, bribery, perjury, kidnapping, child abuse, domestic violence. Domestic violence, is that domestic abuse? Sexual offenses. To me, Lonnie Hart is commits crimes of deception. So if she's doing that, then no general should sign off on anything she says without a packet, without notification, without letting the accused defend themselves, to be in a trap, and to put extra measures along with the ban, is just disgraceful. Just disgraceful. And so, yeah. Yeah. So if you're wondering why, uh, a media is not covering a second lieutenant committing suicide right in front of his battalion building, why they're not covering a convicted criminal interfering and blocking the investigation into whistleblower Richard Halliday, right? If you're wondering why the media is not doing, well, then you need to follow the money, right? Because what is the last bit for, miscellaneous expenses, support services, that's a whole million. Yeah. So they are throwing money to do bad things, y'all. That's the point. It's like the cover up, tampering. When you are cleaning up a suicide without justice being involved in it, that's tampering with evidence. Leilani Hart is tampering with a witness, which means Miss Angela Kucherga, Bob Moore of El Paso Matters, and KTEP tampered with a witness, obstructed justice. They did that because even a simple background would show you that Poche and Leilani Hart are 100% disabled. So this whole claim of, I needed a job, wait a minute. Where is the investigative journalist? Oh, you're a convicted criminal for lying to law enforcement authorities, and you are 100% disabled, and you don't have a El Paso police report, and you don't have any text messages to neighbors, and you don't have any forensics. I mean, what's going on? And they are tampering with a witness. But the Army is tampering also. We have information now that they are tampering. They are obstructing. And we just pray that Major General Eisenhower doesn't. And the reason why we know these things is because we're getting institutional support. And institutional support plus evidence equals accountability. So it's coming. And we're very transparent because we know that those that were up to no good, that committed this foul play, are listening. And Texas has a death penalty. This is serious. And I know you know it's serious because of being harassed so much, being intimidated so much. But look, y'all, don't you know our family? We have esprit de corps. As much as our government leadership has tried to chip away the love in everyone's heart for their country, They haven't succeeded with us. We love our country. We know that our agencies and our institutions are corrupt. But that doesn't mean that the land and the people, um, throw the baby out with the bathwater. We love the land and the people, and we will defend them with or without our institutions, with or without our agencies, with or without our military 44 4-star, very well paid, very well supported, have everything, 4-star generals and admirals that have now decided to serve foreign and domestic enemies. Absolutely. And commit crimes against humanity. Like, where is this general in Hawaii? Leilani Hart was active duty. Why didn't he stop her? Her reign of terror, why didn't he stop her? So, all right, everyone, thank you so much for coming on. And I know this was, I think it was a powerful live stream. When you look at the monies, and because for us, it's not about the monies, but you've got to follow the money to know what's going on, and something very serious is going on in our son's case. And we want Richard. We want to know where he's at. That's the bottom line. And we want accountability now. And so thank you so much for listening, for staying with us for so long. My husband says, don't forget to tell everyone we love you and God bless you.